Okay, so let's get started by creating the environment. That's the first thing that we need to create when we're working on our scene. So let's give it a setting by adding a floor plane, which is the first step. Um, Here in the modeling set, what I would do is go on the poly modeling and select a plane. There's your plane. And for reference, what I will do is pretty much scale it up with the scale tool there. So I'm going to click and drag from the middle to kind of fill there where the grid area is. And it's just for reference. It's not that it has to be the size of the grid. The next step will be to create the dominoes. So let's make one of them first. So I just made a cube over here, and then I'm going to move it up just so that we can get it out of the middle plane there. And I'm going to scale it up. So with the scale tool here, I'm going to make it a little longer so that it looks like a rectangle. And I'm going to make it thinner, okay? If you want to make a set of many of them, that you can do that. I'm just going to make two for this example. So I'm going to move the domino down until it kind of touches that floor plane there. I don't want it to go all the way through, but kind of there, kind of sitting on it. Perfect. So I just grabbed that handle and moved it down until it kind of touches there. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate that by going edit, duplicate. So just making a copy of it. So once we do that, we go to the move tool and move it, and you have two dominoes right now. Okay, so right now there I'm holding the Alt key and the left mouse button to kind of move around. I can do the same with the middle mouse. So what I want to do is, first of all, add a little bit of the texture on the dominoes so that we can see the a little bit more the texture of what the surface should look like. Okay, so let's do that very quickly. And I went on Bing.com and I typed domino. I set the sharing to free and share to use to make sure we get royalty free images. You got quite a few there. We can do the black dominoes, or we can do the white dominoes like this. I kind of like this over here, so let's see. We can let's go view image, and let's use that one because it has this nice white area here that we can use for the size and for the back of it. So let's go save image as, and on my desktop I have a folder called video project dominoes. That's my folder. So I'm gonna call these dominoes texture and save it. I think it will take the same PNG, which is okay. Excellent. Back to Maya. What we're going to do next is apply UV mapping, and I should have done this before, duplicating so that I only had to do it once. If you do it like this, you have to do it one by one, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just delete that second domino that we created, go back to the first domino, and I'm going to add here a maybe automatic. Let's see how it comes out. Let's go open the UV editor here. Okay, it kind of looks okay, but it's not exactly what I want. But let's try. Let's minimize the UV editor, and let's go to add a material. So here on the hypershade, let's click on that little sphere there that looks like a material. And I'm gonna go all the way. Let me open this a little bit so that you have more space. And let's get a blend. Where's the blend? Right here. Dominoes have a little bit of a shine on them, so because they're plastic. So blend allows you to add that. On the color node here, I'm going to map here the texture of the dominoes that I want to use. So let's go there and let's select the file that we just downloaded, and it will appear over here on the side. So on the folder, I'm going to tell it where I saved it to. So this will take a moment. Remember always to set project, to do set project, so that way you save everything together on the same folder and Maya is not looking everywhere. And that way also you can back up that single folder where you save all the files, and you're very sure that you're not going to miss anything that was supposed to be backed up to. Okay, so video project, Dominoes, and here's our texture. So I'm going to say open. Beautiful. So the next thing is to apply that to our dominoes, right? So let's get the hypershade down, and with our domino over there, what I'm gonna do is assign, right click and assign material to viewport selection. So let's try that out. If nothing shows up, select here on the one that gives us the texture, and it's not working. I'm going to stop the screen capture software because sometimes it interferes a little bit. So here's what I'm going to do with our domino and object mode. I'm going to come back here and assign material to selection. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it is working. It's a matter of now arranging all the size that we have. So I'm going to close the hypershade. Let me close it here. Okay, I'm going to go back to the UV editor. So I'm going to open the UV editor here. And as you can see, you have all your sides there, but they're all scattered, and we have now to place them in where they need to be. So I'm right-clicking on the domino and go edge mode. I'm going to then select, drag a selection here, and I'm going to start moving pieces. So I'm going to get the move tool and back to our UV editor. I'm going to move everything away. So I'm going to first determine which is the front side of the domino, which is the back side. So let's say it's this one here, the front. This one over here. Front face. I'm sorry, I was clicking the wrong one. So right click and face. And that's our front face. That's where these dominoes should be at. So let's say that that's going to be 5-1. First of all, we might need to rotate that face because it's kind of going sideways. So what I'm going to do is rotate, and here on the UV editor, kind of position it a little bit better. Now it's lined up, or mostly lined up, with our the front side of the domino. Next, I'm going to scale that to fit. And let me kind of zoom in here with the middle mouse so that it covers the domino, including the edges. So I'm going to just move it a little bit and probably put this on the center. And I want the edges to be black. You can do it any way you want. You can do it just this middle one in the center as a traditional domino that doesn't have edges. So, but I want you to see where the edges are over there. And back to our UV editor, And I'm gonna press Alt middle mouse here and the wheel to zoom out. The rest should be, let's say that I want them just to be white. So I'm going to scale it, scale everything down to fit in that white part, white section. And the beauty of this is if I make more dominoes, I can just pile all the white segments here in the middle and then get only the front size of each domino and use the same, using the same texture. I can just use the front, put each fronts over here and pile them up here, and it doesn't really matter because we are gonna just be using white for the other sides, as you can see. You see? So perfect. Let's close the UV editor. I'm gonna just minimize there. We have the UV editor and the graph editor there. So back to our domino, I'm going to duplicate it. So I'm going to go Edit, Duplicate, and I'm going to come over here. Okay, let's go back to the UV editor over here. And I'm going to see how the UVs are laid out for that one. So since it's the same texture that I applied, I'm going to right click, go to Face, and I'm going to grab that middle one, and I'm just going to move it to the side, and everything remains the same, but now I have two different dominoes. They're using the same material and they're using the same texture. So that's the beauty of this technique. It will save you some time. Okay, so let's close our graph editor here, clicking on it. Perfect. Now I would probably it doesn't matter that if the floor is gray. We're gonna be working on the dominoes. If it bothers you, you can always put a texture just the same way we just did with the dominoes. Just find a different texture and put it on the floor. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how to rotate these now that we have textures assigned, we have them in place. So this one, the 151, is going to knock down, it's going to rotate as if it was pushed by something else, maybe a bouncing ball, maybe another block. And then it's going to hit the 2-1 and it's going to knock it down. So when we come back, we're going to create the animation and we're going to tweak it a little bit to add a little bit of secondary movement.